Well, hello out there in YouTube land. This is Fly Guy with another video on Minecraft, and thank you for joining me. I've been working rather furiously around the clock trying to design a new base and a new establishment way of working with things, and that I thought I'd just show off and see what you guys all think about it. It's not going to be very pretty. It's just, some things I've come up with, some ideas. So we start off. This is the control room, all still under construction. And I've got 4 reactors currently in development. Only one is in operation at the moment because I haven't developed the other 4 at this stage, the other 3 at this stage. But I was trying something different for a change. I wanted to try a reactor based on just coolant cells and quad uranium. And I actually had, this one was producing 780, I think it was, EU, and I had one producing about 1300 EU with just using coolant and that, and it lasted for quite a while. And you can see here that the remaining time on this one on the cycle was on the 5 hour, and it was working quite well. And the problem was, of course, that once the coolant's gone, it heats up and it takes a long time for it to cool down. Temperature hit just over 2000 where I've got it shutting off downstairs in the reactor room, and of course it's a couple of hours have gone by now tonight and it still hasn't cooled down, so that idea is not going to work at all, unfortunately, because unlike the old Tekkit and Minecraft 1.47 and that, where you could put ice constantly into the reactors, doesn't seem to be any effective cooling method for a nuclear reactor in 1.6.4 or the latest industrial crafts. Why can't you put ice into the reactor like we could in Tekkit? I loved it when we could do that. It made the reactors just last forever and it was super efficient, but doesn't work anymore. So anyway, I got this remote thermal monitor set to 1500. And of course the one downstairs on the reactor to 2000 to shut off. So this is just warning me that it's overheating. Did fill up my MSU to 73% before it shut down. So then I've got this switch here, which is just an override to shut it off from here anyway, should anything go wrong. And these are for the other 3 reactors. Okay, let's just go downstairs and have a quick look at the reactor rooms I'm doing. So downstairs here we've got 2 levels. First level is just a little bit of maintenance area. This is where I've got the MFSU at the moment. And just this golden pipe, which I'll explain shortly. This golden pipe was actually loading in coolant into the reactor. So I had all these chutes which I thought would slow down the process and allow the coolant production that I was producing to stack up. So when it actually needed coolant, it would just drop one in, and I thought it would work quite effectively. Unfortunately, it was working quite effectively, but my coolant production wasn't fast enough. So I've just got this little observation area here so I can look down. Now, as you can see, there's no actual reactor there. I've just the spacing and planning, and a little bit of a corridor, and then no actual reactor there. So we've only actually got 1 reactor here that I've worked on at the moment. So this is just an observation area, so you can actually come across here. This is all, of course, hardened reinforced glass and reinforced stone using the texture packs. So alright, we'll go downstairs to the lower level. Now, what I'm going to have here is I'm actually going to have an escape rail. This is going to go for quite a while. I'm going to have an emergency escape rail. So there'll be a cart here, and in case of meltdown, you can just jump in the cart and shoom, you're gone. Basically straight down and woo, off you go. So I figure that that'll be a nice little thing to have in case it ever melts down. Okay, so here's the actual reactor that is working at the moment. What was that? Something dripped down on me? I saw something drip down on me. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, so here's the actual reactor at the moment that is working. So I had all these chutes, and of course the coolant lined up. As you can see, it's smoking, it's quite hot. 2000 degrees to shut it off automatically. I had this set up as an override. That's my cutoff, so that when I've overridden the system to cut off, it turns this redstone torch off, which actually cuts off the power there. In case this was still cool, I could just turn it on and off. But this is the way I had this reactor running. As you can see, the temperature is quite up, but all these quad uranium cells, which were working quite nicely, and then these coolant ones here, which got depleted and it overheated. And it's just not cooling down. But you can see all these other coolant ones aren't even touched. So there's a handful of coolant ones that, you know, are actually depleted or badly depleted, and it's just not cooling it down. But it was producing quite a lot of power, and it was lasting quite a while until it had that little bit of a meltdown. But that was a nice try, but it didn't work. And this is just going to be where my reactors 3, 4 and 2 are going to be, so I'm still working on that. Work in progress. Okay, so we'll just go upstairs. Again, this is all work in progress. I've only been doing this over the last 2 days. I keep redesigning, rebuilding and trying to design things again. So this is just my this will be a design I'll be working with for a while. So okay, so this is just a little storage area here at the moment. Nothing major yet. I'll make use of that space later on. Okay, so we'll start out where I actually started out. And I have all these broken up into separate rooms. So let's go over here. First of all, I've got my cobblestone producers. So I've put them all out this way so that you can actually see if any of them aren't working for any reason, but you can see they're all full. The good thing about these is that once you fill them up with lava and water, you don't really need to worry about ever filling them up with lava and water again. They never seem to run out, and they just keep producing. So I like that fact. So I've got two rows on each, 10 each, so 10, 20, 30, 40, so there's 80 cobblestone producers here. You might say, why so many? Well, because the more stone you got, the more scrap you're going to produce, and the more scrap, the more UU matter you're going to produce. So here's the recyclers. Now I'm just been powering all this with solar panels, the advanced solar panels. I like the advanced solar panel ones. So Industrial Craft Advanced Solar, and using the resonant energy cells because they hold a lot of power, and I like that. So there you go, another row of 10, 20 and 30 recyclers, and they'll produce all the scrap, and then of course the scrap comes across into the mass fabrication room. And here's another 30 mass fabricators. And as you can see, they're all completely full at the moment of UU matter. So that's good. I'm not going to run out in any great time. Now, again, this is all work in progress. The ground's not finished. The floor's not finished. Nothing's finished yet. Okay, so then we come across to where I had originally my replicators. But I didn't like them here. They didn't work well enough, so I moved them. Another resonant energy cell, of course. I don't think you can ever have enough of these. Charging up off solar panels, more solar panels up the top. And this of course is my scanner, my ore scanner, and of course you got your pattern storage on top. Now only one ore scanner I found will work for some reason. If you have more than one, it won't work. So only one, you only need one. And of course I had this one producing uranium, and I had gold and iron, and anyway, these aren't producing anything because they're not actually connected to anything. In fact, I'll just take the crystals out of there and get rid of that because I don't need them anymore. That one was producing tin. I don't need that. No crystals in there. Does this one got a crystal? It's got a crystal. I'll keep the memory crystals in case I need to use them later on. And that one's got no crystal in there, so I can get rid of that. But I'll keep my ore scanner there. I'll just delete that back a bit. Okay, I'll keep the energy conduit there. I'll fix that up later. Okay, so there's the cobblestone generators again. Alright, okay, so as I say, no roof here yet. I haven't even done that stage. Alright, now here's something really cool, another resonant energy. Here I've got, I found something very interesting with uranium ore. If you've got GregTech mod installed, this won't work. And I did try a few things using GregTech mod, and I don't like GregTech, I'm sorry, you know, it just wasn't suitable. But This was really, really cool. I found I use the big reactors as well because I love the big reactors. They're fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But how do you create yellorium unless you mine for yellorite ore? But here's something that works quite a treat. Get yourself the replicators and the pattern storage and scan your uranium ore from your atomic science. Then put your uranium ore to be replicated. And what happens is it goes in and gets pulverized and it turns into yellow cake. Once it's turned into yellow cake, put it in a furnace and it smelts it down, and guess what you get? Yellorium ingots. Just right for big reactors. So it turns uranium into yellorium. I don't know if it's meant to be right. I don't know if it's meant to be the way it is, but it's pretty damn cool. And I like it, Okay, so now here is my coolant factory. This took me hours and hours to figure out how to do this, how I was going to do it neatly, make it look, at least decent, and not be a huge bloody mess, because every time I did a few of these, it turned into a huge mess. So after a lot of planning, a lot of writing down, a lot of drawing, this is what I came up with. So here I've got a replicator and a storage. Now this one is producing sand. Sand turns into glass, and I've got my schematics in here in my cyclic assemblers. So this will make sand to glass, glass to bottles, into the bottling plant with water, turns it into bottled water, going across to this assembler, which is also receiving tin plate from the other side to produce one 10K coolant cell. So on this side we've got the tin going down through the metal former in the rolling, as you can see, and then that forms the tin plate, and when the bottled water comes in, when there's enough, it produces the 10K coolant cell. That is then rushed out through this pipe down into this one here. Of course, where do you go from one 10K? You go to a 30K. So here is another one producing tin ore, and that tin ore is then rolled again and forms another tin plate, and you need 6 tin plate and 3 10K coolant cells, of course, to make one 30K coolant cell. Straightforward, pretty straightforward. Once that's produced the 30K coolant cells, it then rushes that out and into this one. And this one is where we get the 60K coolant cells. You need iron plate, you need the 30K coolants, 2 of them, you need the iron plate and 6 tin plate. So this one's producing iron ore, which is then rolled out again, and this one's producing the tin. And because the 30K coolants are coming straight in here, I've got the iron, I've got the tin, I've got the coolants, and then that makes the 60K. See, there goes one. See that? Here comes a 30K into the system. See, and there's my 30K coolant cells arrived. It needs 2 of those to actually produce the 60K. And then when it's produced the 60K, it'll come out automatically, spit down, go down the pipe and into the reactor. And that's what I was trying to achieve. But it wasn't producing it fast enough. And I had to add this little timer and little circuit gizmo thingy here. I don't know much about redstone and logic circuits and all that, but I had to fiddle around with all this because sand is the fastest producing thing, of course, and sand smelts really fast, so you're getting bottles and bottles and bottles of water, and this was just completely filling up with bottles of water, and there was no room for the tin. So after a lot of fiddling around with different ideas and different things, I came up with that. It works. I slowed it right down, and it allows enough time for the tin to actually come in there, even though I've got stacks of it now, but it allows enough time for the tin to come in so that when the bottled water comes through in there, it's straight away out, done. So that's my coolant production little factory going on, and it works quite well. It's just taken a long time because I was trying to master ME. Yes, ME. Look, I think it's great. It looks nice and everything like that, but it's probably very effective for crafting a lot of stuff in some regards, things like cable and things like, you know, basic stuff. When it comes to doing coolant cells, you can't actually do it because you can't actually craft, well, you can craft them, but you can't because you need the 10k coolant cell to start with, and you need bottled water. Now, this will craft the bottles, but unless somebody knows a way of doing this, because I don't understand ME, I'm just coming to grips with a little bit of it, but if there is actually a way of putting water through this thing, making it go in there, please somebody let me know. If there's a way of actually doing this coolant manufacturing through ME rather than going through all that rigmarole that I'm going through, please can somebody let me know. I'd love to try and see if I can actually make a whole automated system here. Anyway, I've tried to follow Captain Corp's reactor too with his breeders and that. I don't know, it must have changed in all the versions because this version seems to be different. I can't seem to get what he's doing. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but I don't know. I'm not an expert with ME, and far from it. I'm not an expert with Minecraft anyway, but I just fiddle here, muck around here, do what I can there. Now, I also use Rotary Craft because I love Rotary Craft. I haven't set it up on this build yet, but I do love using the extractor because you get so many different ores. Out of gold, you'll get gold and silver. Out of iron, you'll get maybe tin and iron, and you'll get all sorts of other stuff, and you get the ore flakes and that, and you can just get so much more ores using the extractor out of Rotary Craft. So I'm going to be setting that up soon as well. But it's getting late, and it's time for me to hit the hay because I've got to get up for work tomorrow. So I just wanted to show you all my little build. Here's my little veggie patch out here growing along, and down here I've got my little farm animals for my dinner and lunch and so forth, and nothing perfect at the moment, but as I said, everything is just temporary learning curves and all that sort of stuff, so unfinished work in progress. But I hope you liked it, hope you liked the video and found it informative and instructive, and please rate, comment, subscribe and do all that, and thanks a lot for watching. Bye now.